In this section, Bill covers asset protection. Asset protection is extremely important whether you have $300,000 or you have several million dollars. Today, you must be set up so that you won't be a victim of the thousands and thousands of lawsuits that are filed every year in this country.
That has to do, we talk about one topic right now that has to do with how do you get basis. How do you get basis? We talked at the early set, or the early time, where we are going to discuss with clients not changing the plan they have now, but adding something. So I'm still not very much believing in the classic A/B trust planning. I'm still having a marital trust and a family trust, especially because I've got Virginia clients, or Maryland clients and Virginia clients, but I want to have these assets asset protected, and I want to have them inside of the trust. But what about when that client dies? If I have highly appreciated assets in there, I want to be able to get basis in. And what we've been doing is we've been putting in an option that either a trust advisor or a trust protector or a special independent trustee will have the power to grant to the beneficiary of that trust, of the trust that goes to the surviving spouse, by example, and a family trust that's otherwise be outside of the estate, if that spouse does not have a taxable trust, taxable estate, to grant to that spouse a limited, what I call limited general power of appointment, grant a restricted general power of appointment to grant to the creditors of his or her estate the value of in the assets in that trust up to a certain amount, which would then cause those assets to be included in their estate, get a step-up in basis on those assets. Okay? In a world where you need flexibility, you need to give that power to somebody to grant a general power of appointment over those properties. And you can grant a general power of appointment to give it just to the creditors of the estate, just to creditors. And if it's just to creditors, it will never be executed, or unlikely to be executed, number one. And number two, it's just the existence of the power causes it to be inside the estate. Right? So now if we had an Alaska Community Property Trust, by example, where there's a surviving spouse, right? And there is the assets that got a step up when the first spouse passed, right? All those assets got a step up. And then the survivor has his or her assets outside of the assets that were left inside of the family or the B trust or the bypass trust for that survivor. You can give somebody the power to grant to that spouse a power to get a step up. And by the way, that doesn't have to be limited just to the spouse. That can go to every generation. So you have a protector at every generation, or a special independent trustee at every generation to give that. So always provide basis. If you always provide basis, you're never going to have a capital gains event. Right? But it can still stay in the trust. Right? Good enough? Okay.